there. That there. Going live. And we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And also like to welcome my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Mike. Had a good rest morning after working tens all week out at the warehouse.
So you slept
Um,
until like 7:30?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But an old man speak, that is sleeping in when you're waking up at 4:30 in the morning, though.
I mean, I guess you're over 40, so that does make you an old man.
It does. Mike, how was your week up in Esterville?
It was pretty good. There's some, baby issues, but we'll figure them out. That's what parenting is: keeping them healthy, trying to keep them safe. But no, everything's doing better. So we're hopefully on the upswing and getting things taken care of. But we have a massive show this week. Yeah, Rich, hit me with your top two headlines you want to talk about, and then I'll hit you with a couple others.
With the rest? Okay. So, Mike, we're going to start the show by going into the NASCAR corner, letting you know how the Charlotte Roval did, and giving you and previewing the South Point Casino 400 down in Vegas, as well as taking a look at where the NASCAR playoffs stand with the next round starting this Sunday, as well as looking at the week that was and the upcoming week in the NFL. Mike, what else are we going to be talking about?
We got baseball and basketball and hockey to talk about. We got it all, folks. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Rich, your facial expressions on that were great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You rolled your eyes a little bit there. So this week...
Just looking up. No, I don't know. I didn't mean to roll them out. I was just like sort of just looking up.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a good one, Mike. You just kept it going.
I know.
All right, Mike. So we always start the week's episode off with our poll question, which this week was, "We Will Rock You" and "Thunderstruck."
Yeah. Should probably get over there and see.
Yeah. So, Mike, I believe I went with "We Will Rock You." It's a good song to get the crowd involved in on, to get a crowd in to interact with the music. So yeah, Mike, where did you go?
And I did as well. I think Queen is one of those bands that you just can't vote against. Even though AC/DC, my first album I ever bought was an AC/DC. Well, I guess technically my second. My first was Simpson Sings the Blues. Then I bought Back in Black by AC/DC.
Kind of a big drastic change of genre of music that you got there.
Yeah, I mean it is, but
okay. So what were the results, Mike?
75% of our audience, actually it just was, one person voted with you and I, and then one person voted against us. In fact, let me give you those names. They participated, so they get shout outs. Rich, Sean Hurley, I don't know who that is.
I don't know either.
Yeah, we have fans. He voted,
who else?
And he voted with us. Your brother voted Thunderstruck.
All right. I mean, the only tie that I really have the Thunderstruck is going and seeing Quad City Thunder games at the Mark.
Yeah.
And being a naive, younger kid, it was like, wow, this is a cool song that they used, thinking that this was something that they had created.
Whoa.
Not knowing. about ACDC.
Okay. I mean, just because you loved Thunderstruck does not mean that you were naive. You were naive for thinking that the Thunder actually created it. But I feel what you're saying now. Yeah, no, I love Thunderstruck. It's a great song, but it lost
All
in
right.
"We Will Rock You," and that that's okay.
All right.
Rich, this week we got another poll question. What is it? And
Well, we're gonna go with na 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 na. Hey hey hey, kiss him goodbye, and hit the road, Jack.
okay,
That'll go live after we get done on the air here, Mike. So, Mike, do you see what's coming up next?
is it a left turn?
It is a left turn, Mike. And what's after that?
Well, we don't have right turns this week because we're in Las Vegas for the NASCAR Corner, presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out on Fifth Avenue in person or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated for all your sports memorabilia needs. Rich?
All right, Mike. So last week we were in Charlotte for the Bank of America Charlotte Roval, which we said last week is the Charlotte's road course layout on the track there.
Yep.
Christopher Bell was the race winner, going from last in the playoff standings to getting an automatic advancement into the round of 8. Our picks, Mike, on the playoff side, Ross Chastain had some, I believe he had some car issues, and he had a wreck,
Yep.
which caused him to finish 37th. Your pick of Chase Elliott came in 20th. I believe with Chase, it was just getting caught up in some wrecks in the last couple laps of the stage with having restarts there. He
Yeah.
just got caught up into it and just didn't have enough time to recover. On the non-playoff side, my pick of AJ Allmendinger came in 4th. Your pick came in 10th, which was Austin Dillon.
Yep.
That makes the standings overall, Mike, 24-19. But just looking at the playoff races, I'm up 11-3.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You are on a tear. Getting that second driver really helps you. It really
It
does.
has.
Because, and we've seen it a lot where you a lot of times have where one of your guys doesn't do that great, and the other one does awesome. And you've had a few times where you've picked two
Both of
amazing
them.
drivers, and I pick crappy drivers. But okay, this week we are, like I said, we're heading into Las Vegas for the South Point Casino 400 in Las Vegas. Rich, this is one of your more traditional tri-oval racetracks.
All right.
So, what are you looking for? Who are you looking to win? And how you feeling?
I really don't know how to feel about it. I'm looking forward to watching the race on Sunday.
Yeah, you don't have to
Um,
watch a Bears game. Don't
I
have to
don't.
watch
I
them
don't have
lose
to worry about.
again.
No, but more on that later, Mike. Um, so yeah, I don't know. What I was reading in kind of like the fantasy NASCAR article that NASCAR.com publishes, said that the Toyotas usually have had good speed at this track type, and that's going to be reflected in my picks.
Okay.
Um, so anything else that you want to add before we give our picks?
Nope. I think we're good. Yeah.
All right,
What are you
Mike.
picking?
So you have the honors with on the playoff side, since your pick of Chase Elliott finished higher. Who are you going with?
I'm gonna pick Ryan Blaney.
I really do like the Ryan Blaney pick. He would have been one that I might have taken if you hadn't gotten him first. He will be in my fantasy lineup this weekend.
Okay.
So going with the Toyotas, I'm going to go with Christopher Bell.
Okay. I like that.
Coming
I like
in
that.
hot after his rallying victory down in Charlotte. On the non-playoff side, I'm going to stay in the Toyota garage, and I'm going to go with the guy that I want to see do well, and I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr.
Okay. I like Martin Truex Jr. a lot. I think he'll do well. I'm going to pick Austin Dillon yet again. He does really well at the 1.5 ovals. This is why I'm picking him.
Okay, I like it. All right, Mike. So, because this what we already mentioned that the Charlotte Roval was an elimination race, and the drivers that were eliminated were Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, and
Okay.
Austin Cindric, and going into the going into the round of 8, the drivers that would advance pending the results of the next 3 races are Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, and Christopher Bell, making it below the cut line Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and Chase Briscoe.
Okay. Look for one of those lower guys to really push the next few weeks to get that win. So that would be where I would say on that. So breaking news, literally happening today as we are. This came out just about an hour ago. Not even an hour ago. 50 minutes ago. Kurt Busch has made an announcement that he is not going to race the rest of this season, and he's not competing for the championship next year. Now, for those that don't know, what that means is he will not be racing all the races for next year. It does sound like, with that announcement and with the discussions behind the scenes, that the 2311 T Racing is going to bring up.
They're going to bring over Tyler Reddick a year early.
They're going to bring him in early, and then allow Busch to jump in a car, and maybe they get a special charter for a car, or maybe he just jumps into Tyler Reddick's seat once in a while. Whatever it is, whatever it looks like, he'll jump into a car as he needs to, or when he wants to, and when he decides to, and he's going to kind of be the team mentor and the leader of that team, and I think that's a great spot for him. The world has a rough time with the Busch brothers in general, and I think they both get a bad rap, but NASCAR is a worse sport with him out of the race. So it'll be sad to see him not competing full time, but I think it's what's best for him, and I think it's what's best for his family. So good on him. We have been rallying the last few weeks about how NFL players need to take better care of themselves and not worry about proving that they are the toughest man out there. They don't need to worry about that. And Kurt Busch is actually doing in NASCAR what we're preaching in NFL. So.
Yeah, and there's another driver dealing with concussion-like symptoms, Alex Bowman.
Yeah.
He had to excuse himself. I believe he missed the last 2 playoff races,
yep,
including the elimination race. So,
yeah,
going into Charlotte, there were actually three drivers that were looking to stay below the cut line, since Alex Bowman was excused, sat out the race.
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's crazy, but and you don't think about it in NASCAR, but the way these guys take impacts, it's amazing more of them don't have issues like this. It's good to see guys taking care of their health and taking care of themselves. So, Rich, do you have anything else to talk about in the NASCAR?
I don't. So, Mike, you started saying NFL, so let's go ahead and go over to the gridiron.
You want to do that last read real quick?
Sure. All right. That was the NASCAR Corner presented by III Sports Cards Incorporated. Check them out in person, 5th Avenue in Moline, or you can find them on eBay. III Sports Cards Incorporated.
Okay. Heading into the NFL this week, week 5, Rich, you picked the Packers over the Giants. Man, that was rough as a lock of the week, as the Giants come out winning 27-22, bringing your overall record to 3-1-1.
All right, Mike, you had much better luck than I did as the Bills dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers 38-3. So you're bringing your record to 2-3.
Yeah.
On locks of the week. The upset special, Mike. I also didn't get that as the Seahawks fell to the New Orleans Saints 39-32, dropping my record to 3-2. How did your upset do, Mike?
2-3 is what your record shows.
Oh, 2-3. Thanks.
Mine, by the way, we're sitting at the same record at 2-3 because Cincinnati could not come up and show up against Baltimore. Baltimore winning the game 19-17. In the Bears-Vikings games, we both picked the Vikings, and as much as the Bears tried to make it happen, they fell short yet again, losing to the Vikings 29-22, bringing the Bears' record to 2-3 on the year. Rich, you and I are both 4-1.
All right, Mike. Thursday Night Football was another Bears game when the Washington Commanders came into Soldier Field. You went with the Commanders. I kept with my pick of the Bears from the preseason, and it didn't work out, Mike, as the Commanders won. I didn't put the score here, but
because it doesn't matter. Won. It was a terrible game. It
was 12-7. 12-7.
Yeah,
I believe it was 12-7. So, Mike, you're 5-1 in picking the Bears. I'm 4-2, and the Bears are 2-4.
Somebody owes Amazon $1 billion for their Thursday night purchase. I mean, that is just sad. Rich, before we get into this week's predictions, Week 6 predictions, I got a question for you.
Okay.
We're 5 weeks in. How do you? We're almost. We're a little past a quarter of the way through the season. How do you feel about your number of wins you gave the Bears at the beginning of the year?
I'm not feeling good. I didn't watch much of the Bears Commanders game.
It was bad.
I just lost track of time. I lost track of time, and I knew that I had to be up early to get into work early. So around halftime, that's when I hit the shower, and by the time I got done going through like the bathroom routine, my wife had already shut the game off, so I didn't bother going in there and turning it back on.
Yeah, it wasn't worth watching. They were done by they were done by like they were done early because it was a bunch of running and it wasn't that great a play. So it was a really quick game. There wasn't a lot of touchdown. There was one touchdown or two touchdowns in the game. It was terrible Thursday Night Football.
I mean, the one theme that I did see through the halftime show and even during the game, Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit were talking about, you have a guy that has the ability to run a really good running quarterback that runs fast as a sub 40 time.
Yeah.
And you're trying to make him into a pocket passer. And Kirk Herbstreit was even saying, look at all these college quarterbacks coming into the league today that were good college quarterbacks.
Yep.
But you seem to have so many teams are drafting them and then forcing them into a system that they're not either not ready for, or they just don't have the skill set to play within that system.
Excuse me.
Instead of doing what Baltimore has done, and probably to a lesser extent Buffalo, in building a system around their quarterback's talents.
Yeah, it's sad. You would think that would be a more intelligent way to use a quarterback. You're using that much draft capital and that much money wrapped up in one player, and yet you are shoehorning him into something. By the way, you want to talk about a team that uses a quarterback to the best of his abilities and wraps the offensive mindset around him?
Who's that, Mike?
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Tell me another team that pulls up plays that are more designed for Patrick Mahomes or insert their quarterback.
Probably Baltimore, and Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. And I think to a lesser extent because they know what he's good at and how they can use him within their system. Taysom Hill in New Orleans.
Yeah, that you are
He's
correct
not a
on that one.
quarterback. He's not a quarterback. They've gotten him to buy into being a Swiss Army knife type player
By the
that isn't
way,
defined by being
how
confined to like one position.
how dirty are they doing him though? He signed a contract basically saying if you guys let me play quarterback, I'll play quarterback and get paid like a quarterback. But if you don't, well, I guess I'll get paid like a tight end. A really good tight end, but a tight end nonetheless.
But right now, I mean, you look at what his weekly stats are. He's more of a running back
Yeah,
than a receiving.
But even beyond that, though, my problem isn't that. My problem is he left it up to them. How often is a team going to allow him to play like that?
Probably not very often. But all right, getting back to the Bears though.
Okay.
So, I mean, I understand that Justin Fields wasn't this coaching staff's or even the front office's.
I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this mindset.
But
you go for it.
They were also, but the front office hired the coaching staff, and I'm sure that during that interview process, it would be, all right, how best do you think we can use our incumbent quarterback that we inherited together in Justin Fields? And yet we chose an offensive play caller. We chose our play caller to be the guy that was the quarterback coach for Aaron Rodgers, and maybe had a hand in maybe developing a little bit of Jordan Love's game, but Justin Fields doesn't have the same skill set as Aaron Rodgers
or Jordan Love.
Well, even though what limited action we've seen of Jordan Love.
Yeah, I am sick of this mindset that he wasn't our quarterback. You're right, he wasn't. But he's the guy that you have. And do your best with what you have. I'm sick of it. We got to stop. You got to stop this argument of, hey, he's not our quarterback. No, he is your quarterback. You came in, you accepted the job knowing who the quarterback was. If you didn't want that guy as your quarterback, don't take the job. I don't care. You accepted the job to be this guy's head coach. Why are you trying to tell me now that he's not my quarterback? Done that up. I'm done with it.
So hopefully they figure out ways to better utilize Justin Fields' skill sets.
Yeah.
But right now, they're not.
Yep.
So, Mike, week number 6.
Let's go into it. Week number 6. Let's start out with Thursday night football. Okay? Thursday night football is the Saints. Oh, wait, no. Let's start out with games you're going to watch tomorrow. You're right. Let's go with games you're going to watch tomorrow. We have the Vikings. I'm going to pick the Vikings over the Dolphins. The Vikings look like a great team. That will be reflected once we get to our power rankings.
Yeah, and the Dolphins are now on their third string quarterback as Teddy Bridgewater did not get cleared to play this week. Tua didn't get cleared to play this week, although a story that I saw pop up while I was before coming on air, Tua Tagovailoa is cleared concussion protocol, and he is expected to start week number 7.
Lord help this
Stay
boy.
tuned for more information on that one.
Lord
All
help
right,
this
my
boy.
lock. Yeah, my lock of the week. You probably took the best one, Mike. So I'm gonna go with maybe one that wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't come through with the since it didn't work as an upset last week. But I'm gonna go with the Bengals over the Saints down in New Orleans.
Okay, I'm okay with that. That's a pretty good pick there. For the upset special of the week, I'm gonna take the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts look bad this year. The Jaguars are doing better this year than anybody predicted them to do. I like that pick.
Yeah. Also, Jacksonville always plays Indy tough. Even if Jacksonville's a horrible team,
Yeah.
they always show up against the Colts. So
Yep.
I like it. Mike, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots over the Browns. Both teams want to run the ball, and I think the Patriots are going to beat the Browns at their own game.
Okay. Thursday night, you're going to see the Saints play the Cardinals in Arizona. Man, this game is I think it's too close to call, but we have to make a prediction. Rich, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go with the Cardinals, but I may switch the pick on the Yahoo app around Thursday.
I don't have a clue.
But for our show predictions, it will be the Cardinals in the book.
Yeah, and I'm going to go the same route. We talked about it. There are too many injuries in New Orleans to really pick those guys to do anything.
And you don't know what Cardinals team is going to show up.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't think we're going to see Nate Kingsbury last that much longer if he doesn't at least make the playoffs this year.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury. Nate Kingsbury is a former pastor friend of both of ours. So
yeah, he's still up in Michigan. I don't think he got the NFL gig. The gig yet.
Hey, speaking of which, speaking of guys getting roles, we forgot to mention the Carolina Panthers have fired Matt Rule.
Yeah, it's no longer Matt does not rule in Carolina anymore.
By the way, do you know what he gets paid? What he's going to get paid for the next 48 months?
$48 million, or around that time figure.
It's $800,000 a month. By the way, I volunteer as tribute to be the next Bears head coach. I volunteer as. I'll take a hometown discount even. You just have to pay me $20 million. We'll cut it in half. $20 million.
Have a really bad losing season, accept failure, and I accept my fate as be a fired coach. I didn't get my job done. Apologize to all those fans out there. I'm gonna go watch these guys play some good football next year. Hopefully this team can improve. Here's my banking info so you know where to send the money.
Send them checks every month. I'm gonna take my $800,000 a month.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, I think Matt Rule, I don't think he's going to ever get an NFL head coaching job again, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in college.
Yeah.
As Carolina hired him because he had a good track record of turning around college football programs.
Yeah.
And that just did not translate at all to the NFL.
Yeah. Man, I was not expecting anybody to do that this early for that to happen this early in the year. I normally expect it around week 8 when we start seeing coaches get fired, but
or at least start talking about coaches on the hot seat.
Yeah,
you don't even really start talking about or seriously start looking at coaches on the hot seat this early.
I'm surprised that you even put that. So we have a document that we go through, and this week Rich even put it on there. I think because of Matt Rule.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm ready to talk about it yet. I mean, I think Ron Rivera's on the hot seat. I feel bad for him. I think he shouldn't be. By the way, Ron Rivera's on the hot seat. I don't like it because I think they should give him another 2 years so that way when the Bears fire Matt Eberflus, they can hire Ron Rivera, bring him in. He can come back to Chicago. Let's do it.
Yeah. If I had this being the one guy that I think has got on the hot seat is probably Frank Reich down in Indy.
Yeah, that's a huge one too. I don't know how he's gonna continue to stay employed there if he doesn't do something by the end of this year. Man, we could go through a bunch of teams, guys that I think have solidified their safety for the year. And this one's going to surprise you.
Okay.
Because the team's not that great. Lovie Smith.
I don't think Lovie Smith at all was, in my opinion, I don't think he was in jeopardy of losing his job. Because I think the vast majority of people, and even though it happened 2 years ago, or what seems like 2 years ago, the soundbite on the local ESPN radio show is that it almost seems like Lovie Smith was like the last man standing in that coaching search, so he got the job by default. And isn't it a coincidence that the Texans job is the only job that went to an African American minority candidate?
I have some things to
from
put.
a PR standpoint, I don't think that they could turn around and fire Lovie Smith after 1 year.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to bring up a clip that I watched today about how Todd Bowles responded to some comments and questions about. Well, I'll paraphrase. I kind of should have had. I knew I should have had it up. I watched it this morning. Basically, reporters were asking him about the fact that he's one of only three. Is it 3 or 4 head coaches in the NFL that are African American, and isn't it good that we're starting to see people that look like you and whatnot? And he said, you know what it is, when I talk to the guys, when I talk to when I'm on the field coaching, you know what I see across from me? I see a good coach or I see a bad coach. I don't see a skin color. This is not me. This is basically me paraphrasing / quoting Todd Bowles. He said, "You guys, the media, are the ones that are making this issue. None of my guys think anything of it. None of my guys look at me and say, "Oh, he's a black coach. I gotta do something different because he's here." They want to play their hearts out. And they want to play for somebody that wants them to play their hearts out. And they want to play for somebody that wants to get the best out of their people and has the best in mind for their people. That's the message from Todd Bowles this week as he was being interviewed. And man, I'm here for it. Yes, do I think we should try to give as much opportunity to those in the African American community as we do to those in the white community? I think we should.
But you still should be hiring the best person for the job that's going to fit, that you feel is going to be the best person for the job.
And at the end of the day, that's what you need. And that's exactly, you finished up my quote for me perfectly, or my thoughts on that perfectly. Okay, Rich, let's get our top 10. There's been quite a bit of shakeup. We are at 33 minutes. Do you want to do that, or do you want to come back to that after we hit NHL and NBA to give our final our predictions on those?
Yeah, we can do that. We can give our predictions real quick because I know that won't take too much time.
Yeah.
The NHL. So last week we gave you our playoff teams. This week we're giving you our Stanley Cup playoff predictions.
Yeah.
So Mike, who do you like?
Again, and I think this is possible, but again, I don't remember how the NHL splits up their thing. I think it's possible this matchup, if I remember correctly, the Lightning over the Avalanche.
Yes, the Lightning are in the East, the Avalanche are in the West.
Okay.
I really don't follow the NHL. I'm not pretending that I know a lot about the NHL, as I really mainly kind of watch around the Stanley Cup finals. That's really about it.
You just like looking at dudes with beards.
Yeah.
When they look like young boys clean shaven, you don't want to watch.
Well, okay. Or I watch the special event games, like the outdoor games.
Yeah, I can't
the outdoor games and the Stanley Cup finals. Those are the only games I watch.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go with the Florida Panthers over the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh.
I switched it up. I'm gonna go with Edmonton.
Okay, that's totally acceptable.
I tried looking around before putting this together. what are the experts that actually follow hockey? Who are they showing could go to the Stanley Cup Finals? A lot of people put Edmonton, so I'm going to go with Edmonton.
I like that, and you're right. That is a lot of people are saying that. Okay, on the NBA side, this week we're going to give you each our 16 teams that will make the playoffs in no particular order. Actually,
Yes.
it is going to be in particular order. We're going to go alphabetical.
Okay, yeah,
That
that's
is,
right.
there is an order. It's alphabetical because so what had happened was I put the teams in the in my rankings on how they would rank and who would be in first through last. And Rich was being bothered by the fact that he wanted it in alphabetical. So we went alphabetical,
And I put them in no order, and then was looking. All right, hey, we could make this go really smoothly if they were in alphabetical order.
yeah, I liked having 1 to 8, but Rich didn't. So we'll go alphabetical. Rich, the number one team, has no alphabet in their name.
Mm. Yeah.
The first team we are both putting in, by the way.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah.
So we're starting in the Eastern Conference.
Yep.
We both put the Philadelphia 76ers. Mike, what's the next team on the list that we think is going to make the playoffs?
We are going to Milwaukee for the Bucks. I put the Bucks
Yeah.
in, and so did you. Okay. The next team on the list that we both put in is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I like the Cavs' addition of Donovan Mitchell, and yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they challenged for the division crown instead of the Bucks too. But
Okay.
in the NBA, winning your division isn't as big of a deal as it is in the other sports.
Yep.
You just need to be in the top 8 of your conference.
Yep.
All right, Mike. So the next team that we agreed on was the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, they're a great team. Look for them to only improve this year. Going to be a tough team to beat.
You know, I still think they'll make the playoffs, but I want to see if the unexpected coaching change, how that will affect them, of losing their coach due to some personnel reasons, of him being suspended for the year.
I
'Cause
think it
So I'm
happened.
curious to see how that affects the team.
I think that happened early enough in the season, or early enough. It happened right at the beginning of training camp. So you're coming in. Basically, you have a fresh coach, but they're using guys that they had, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Like we said in the last game, or in the last segment, it's about who you are. As long as the guy across from you, the guy that's actually coaching, is putting his best effort and helping the team win, that's all you care about. So, the next team and second to last team that we agree upon,
Hmm.
the Miami Heat.
Yeah, the Heat I think are always good. They may not
Yeah.
look the best on paper, but they always end up making that top 8. So it's hard for me to leave them out.
Yep.
And Mike, the last team that we agree on is the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay, let's go to teams we don't agree on in the East. Rich, one that we both like, but you are the only one that thinks they're going to make the playoffs. Who is it?
I put the Chicago Bulls here.
Okay, is that because you actually think so, or because you're a Bulls fan?
Um, I don't know. It made sense at the time that I put the list together to
Worked for me.
that, hey, I was looking for playoff teams, so
Yep,
I'm
nope.
going to go with the Bulls.
Totally makes sense. And I put my first team that you did not have, the Atlanta Hawks.
All right. So my other team that wasn't on your list, I put the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, I think they've taken a step back, and I think the Hornets are going to be a better team this year, rounding out
Okay.
the top 8. Let's go over to the West as we agree upon the Clippers.
Yeah. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are finally going to get a chance to play together.
Yeah, yeah. I think they'll be a good team. They've done everything they can. spoiler alert, that's the only team that I think from LA is going to make the playoffs.
All right, more on that later. Mike, the next team that we both have on the list is the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, the Grizzlies, they're a good team. They're one of those small market teams that just can draw guys in somehow. And
Yeah,
they've put together.
Yeah, they've kind of been. They're not. They're still that attitude of that grit and grind
Yeah,
attitude, but and they got a good scorer in John Morant.
yeah,
So they're a young up and coming team. They just need a little bit more experience, and it looks like the ownership group wants to keep that team together, keep
yeah.
the core together.
Look out for
All right,
them
Mike,
this
what's
year.
the next team that we agree on?
The Dallas Mavericks.
Yep, I think as long as Luka Doncic can stay healthy, I think the Mavs can make the playoffs.
Key of the team right there. You just said it. That's it. It all rests on Luka Doncic. Really, it does. Rich, what is the next team we both have on the list?
The Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, go with them Nugs. That's a good team there. Watch out for them. There's some gold happening in Denver. Rich,
right.
we also both agree on the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, but much like the Celtics, there's some controversy down in the Valley of the Sun as well,
Yeah,
as the owner is in hot water on whether for some was it inappropriate
all sorts of
comments that
terribleness.
yeah,
All sorts of
all sorts
terribleness.
of terribleness
He needs to
that
sell the
he's
team.
caused.
Racism.
And I think he
all
has
sorts of
I
crazy.
think he has put the team up for sale.
Yeah, and that's a good.
So it's
That's a good
dealing-
call.
Yeah, and also their coach and their center aren't on the same page, as DeAndre Ayton signed an offer sheet to sign with the Indiana Pacers. The Suns chose to match that contract to bring him back to Phoenix, and supposedly since the playoff loss, the coach and Anton have not talked at all. So I don't know.
I don't think it's
know
that.
what
I don't
exactly
think it's
is
that big.
going on down in
I
Houston.
guarantee they've talked since, because I guarantee that during training camp they've been talking. They had to have.
Yeah.
I know that before training camp there was controversy about it, but I don't think that's where we're at.
All right.
One
The
thing
next-
I will say, the last thing I'm going to say about it, and this is the bigger one for me, I think a crazy owner is less hurtful than an issue with your head coach. So I actually think that the controversy about the head coach or about the owner means nothing to the team. That is a nothing burger. They don't care. So
Okay. Fair enough. So, Mike, the next team that we kind of agree on is the Golden State Warriors.
yeah, that's true. Just because I used nicknames a little, I used shortened nicknames. Yes, that would be the next team alphabetically. But yeah, I mean, it's the Warriors. How are you going to go against them right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like they are, if they have Steph Curry, they have a chance. And it doesn't matter if Steph is at half court, 3/4 court. You can't stop that man.
Yeah, I think they're the early favorite to repeat as the NBA champs.
He is draining balls from as far away as he wants to and does well doing it. It's crazy. The final team we both agree on in the West is going to be the Timberwolves. I put them down just as the Wolves. That's my bad, but they are the Timberwolves.
Yeah, most teams call them the Wolves anyway. But yeah, Denver. I mean, Minnesota. I think got better bringing in Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd look for the Timberwolves to maybe make it out of the first round this year. All right, Mike. The one team that we didn't agree on in the West was the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, that's the one team you picked that I don't agree with. I don't think they're old. You got LeBron, but last year proved that having LeBron does not guarantee you anything anymore.
Yeah, but for me, it's hard for me not to put the Lakers in the playoffs.
I can understand it.
midway point, or maybe 2 weeks before the regular season is going to end, then I could maybe make a call of, doesn't look like the Lakers are going to make it. They're too far. They're too close to that cut line, and there's some hungry teams down on the bottom that could undertake them. But in the preseason, I got to put them in.
We're going to see a full year of the second coming of LeBron James. By the way, this man is bigger. This man is stronger than LeBron James. Zion Williamson with the Pelicans. This is going to be his... So last year, he missed the early part of the season. This year, I think as long as he stays healthy, look out for that team.
Yeah, and I do like that. And they picked up C.J. McCollum at the trade deadline last year, so you're going to have a full year of McCollum.
Yeah,
down in New Orleans as well. So I don't disagree with putting the Pelicans in there. I just chose to go with a veteran team led by probably, I don't know, generational talent like LeBron James. There's nobody like LeBron James. So I got to give him benefit of the doubt that he'll find a way to get his team in the playoffs.
Okay, real quick, playoffs just started. Not a lot to talk about. Rich, tell us in the. By the way, we're going to give you our finals, our conference finals, and then our final predictions next week for the NBA. We probably won't talk Stanley Cup for a while, except to say, make Chicago sell the team. I might say that every week. I want to cheer for them again, but I won't because I want their team to suck so bad they have to sell the team.
Okay, the playoff picture in the MLB, your wild card teams, the Indians, the Guardians.
Guardians.
I know it's force habit, force a habit. But yeah, the Guardians beat the Rays 2-0. Seattle upset the Toronto Blue Jays, sweeping their 3-game set 2-0. The Phillies took out the Cardinals. Good job, Philly, 2-0. And the San Diego Padres beat the New York Mets 2-1.
Rich, do you know what San Diego means? It means San Diego. It just does.
Okay, so your division series currently, the Yankees and Guardians are tied 1-1. The Houston baseball team is up 2-0 on the Mariners. The Padres lead 2-1 over the Dodgers, and the Phillies lead 2-1 over Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah, and then we'll talk more baseball next week. There's managers that are being fired and guys are being promoted.
I think the firings are done. I think the firings are done.
Right.
The Phillies decided to retain their manager after how well the team turned around once he took over the reins from Joe Girardi. But there's really no other updates. Nobody else got fired, and nobody else has gotten hired.
Okay.
So probably more on that later. Mike, you're ready to circle back to our power rankings.
Yeah. So our power rankings, I think, are going to be a little bit boring, but we'll get started. So, Rich, with our power rankings, let's start with your number 1.
I went with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, this is where I'm going to shock you.
Okay.
You ready to be shocked?
Who is it, Mike?
Philadelphia Eagles.
I was tempted to put them number 1, Mike. I really was, but they're beating up on average or below average teams. Their only good win, in my opinion, is their win against the Vikings. Their previous wins, Detroit, Washington, Jacksonville, Arizona.
By the way, there's not that many teams that have really good records.
Yeah,
they're all most of the teams this year are average or below average. Like, I know that sounds weird, but there are more teams that are in that average rate right now.
Yeah.
So
I think I might move them up. I mean, especially with the Chiefs and the Bills playing each other this week.
Yeah, I get it. But this is where I think the biggest controversy is going to be. This is it.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are the best team in the. They are showing that they are the best team. They are playing the best right now. Yeah, they might be beating up on mediocre teams, and they might have a fairly easy schedule comparative to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, but they're getting it done.
That's what, yeah, and that's what winning teams are supposed to do. You win the games you're supposed to win.
And we've seen both the Bills and the Chiefs lose games they're supposed to win. Like, yes, they may only be one-loss teams, but they both lost games that they should have won. Both those teams, if you look on paper, both of those teams should be undefeated teams, but they're not. So, either
All
way,
right, fair enough. So, Mike, who did you put at number 2?
Number 2, that's where I have Kansas City,
All right, I have Buffalo at number 2,
and I move them down to 3.
and that's where I have the Eagles.
I think it makes sense, and I. By the way, I honestly don't think there's a good argument against either one of those top 3.
Yep. So here's what I'll do next week, though. If the Eagles beat the Cowboys, more than likely they're going to go up to 2, and the winner of the Bills-Chiefs game is going to go up to number 1.
Okay, and I think
Loser of the Bills-Chiefs goes down to 3.
I think that's actually a decent way to look at it. Then we get into number 4.
Number 4 is where I put the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay,
I didn't really think once Dak got injured, I thought this was the beginning of the end of their season, and they've actually played better with Cooper Rush as their quarterback. I don't think they've played to the point where they need to seriously consider keeping Cooper Rush as the starting quarterback when Dak is healthy, but at least they're to the point that they can look at it as a week to week basis of, you know what, let's not rush Dak back.
Yeah, I think
risk further injury.
I think the biggest thing that comes in, and this is just for me, is that they have been playing. They knew what they were getting into, and they were ready for it. And so I like it. I still have some questions there. I don't have them at number 4. In fact, I have the Vikings at number 4. My number 5 team, the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, so we're not that far off. I put the Vikings at 5.
Nope. Like I said, I told him. So Rich actually copies all of his eye tests over to another sheet, and then doesn't look at mine. And I look at the combined thing that we have, which we should probably get back into giving our rankings for the power ranking, our actual power rankings, because right now we're just giving you and my Rich and I's eye test power rankings. We should give you the power rankings.
Why don't we do this, Mike? Once we get through our top 10, let's give what the power rankings top 10 is.
Totally works.
All right.
So who do you have at 5, Rich? You said,
I put the Vikings.
Yep.
So number 6, Mike, I put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Me too.
All right, number 7, I finally had to give this team some respect. They're a lot better than we thought they would be, and they have beaten some decent teams.
Yeah.
The New York Football Giants.
Yep, and we'll get to where I have them in just a second. But first, that's your number 7. My number 7 is the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, I put the Ravens at number 8.
My number 8 is the San Francisco 49ers. And my number 9 is the Green Bay Packers. You want to talk about the San Francisco 49ers?
Nope, not really.
Okay.
I'm good. I put the Packers at number 9.
Yep.
And I rounded out my top 10 with the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I rounded out my top 10 with the New York Football Giants.
All right, so we're really not that far off.
Honestly, this is my counterpoint. Yeah, they're looking good right now, but I'm not sure that. Are we looking at fool's gold or are we looking at real gold? And I'm not sure on that yet. I haven't been fully convinced that we're looking at gold.
No, and neither
so
am I.
That's why I can't put them any higher than 10.
Yeah, and I struggled with how high to put them, but I felt that they needed to be. I felt that they needed to be there, just based off of the thing of, you know what, they beat the Green Bay Packers, so it's hard for me to put the Giants below the Packers. They
Yep.
beat the Tennessee Titans, so
Yep.
necessarily couldn't the, put them below that team. So by all means, if when they start slipping, and I think it's a when, not an if they start slipping, they're going to go down in the rankings.
Yeah.
But for now, that's why I had to put them at number 7. So
Yep. So
so I
our
put the Niners at number 11.
okay, and that's fine. I totally get that. By the way, I put the I put who did you have at 10?
10 is where I put the Tennessee Titans.
I put them at 11.
Okay.
So, okay. Now, how the power rankings work, we have some math that we do, and we use a couple of different things. But the way that the math works out this week. Number 1 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2 is the Buffalo Bills. Number 3 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 4 is the Dallas Cowboys. Number 5 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 6 is the Vikings. Number 7, the Ravens. Number 8, the Niners. Number 9, the Packers, and number 10, the Titans. So, by the way, outside of the Giants, that's actually pretty close to what we have.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, Mike. Why don't you, since you got the power rankings tab, so since your sheet that you're looking at is sorted by the power rankings, who are the power rankings bottom 5?
At 20,
before we give you ours.
At 28, they have the Detroit Lions. 29, they have the Pittsburgh Steelers. 30, they have the Bears. 31, the Carolina Panthers, and 32, the Houston Astros or Houston Texans. Wow.
Okay. So my number 32 team, this is where I put the Carolina Panthers.
I actually put the Houston Texans at 32.
All right. I mean, my tiebreaker is as I was trying to look around. All right, who really should be in this bottom 5? I started looking at who have they beaten, and for me, I think that the Texans win over the Jaguars was a lot better than the Panthers beating up on an injured Saints team. So that's why I put the Panthers at 32.
So my argument is actually that who's in a better position players wise, and I actually think the Panthers are in a better position than the Houston Texans. But that's not who I have at 31. Who do you have at 31, Rich?
31 is that's where I put the Texans.
I put the Chicago Bears at 31.
All right.
They're hot garbage. And that was not including this week's game, by the way. That was before this week's game. So, at 30 is where I put the Carolina Panthers.
Okay. 30 is where I have the Commanders.
Okay. I have the Commanders ranked a little bit higher, but we'll see where they are when we get there. Who do you have at 29, Rich?
The Chicago Bears.
Okay.
They're not going to be 29 next week. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if they're going to be 31 next week.
All that and more last next week. So, Mike,
29
out the bottom 5.
29 for me 29? Is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and 28 I actually put the Washington football team commander Redskin thing.
Yeah, I put the Steelers at number 28.
Okay.
So we agreed on the teams in the bottom 5, just in different orders.
Where do you have the Detroit Lions?
I put the Lions at 26.
I gave them 25.
I want to have them higher. I really do want to have them higher because they're putting points on the board. They just can't keep the other team off of the scoreboard. Yeah. And their one win is against the Commanders, who I have ranked number 30 at the time.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, we will. I mean, we did it, and we're under an hour. Boom. Any shout-outs this week before we get going?
I don't have any shout-outs this week.
I have 2.
Go for it.
And they're for my twin nieces. Had their first birthday this week. My little brother and his wife had twins about a year ago Tuesday. So happy birthday to the girls. So Hannah and Elizabeth.
All right, good deal. And yeah.
So,
All right, Mike. So people are watching us here on Facebook, and they want to take us on the road. Where else can they find us at?
they can find us anywhere they find their podcasts. Or if you want to watch us without watching us on Facebook, you can catch us on YouTube. Rich, where should people go to participate in our poll questions or to get a live comment shout out and get notified when we go live?
Make sure to find us on Facebook at either Fans of Balls and Sticks or Balls and Sticks. The polls are on Fans of Balls and Sticks. The live stream can be found on both of them.
Okay.
And also, Mike, did you do a Twitter poll this week?
I did not. I forgot to do that, but I should do that this week.
Yeah, so watch for a Twitter poll to more than likely get posted by Meet Hart.
Nope, it'll be by balls_sticks.
Okay, you don't do it. You don't post to the Balls and Sticks Twitter handle.
I use
page.
balls and sticks to ask the question.
Okay, so watch for that if you're in the Twitterverse.
Yeah, and you can follow Rich at. I don't know your Twitter handle.
I don't use it.
Yeah.
But I believe it is Mr. Rich 925.
Yeah, look for me at Meet Hart on Twitter. Okay, folks, Rich, this has been a good show.
It has been, and we did it under an hour. So
we're now just over an hour, but
just missed it. We'll try and be better next time, Mike.
yeah, I think it's
so.
fine.
We'll talk at you next week. Watch for us to go live and for the YouTube video to get posted. So wherever you catch us, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you make an appropriate comment on our Facebook live stream, we'll make sure to give you a shout out at the end of the show, or a reaction shout out as well. Did we have any of those, Mike, before we roll the outro?
Nope.
No. All right, Mike, go ahead and roll the outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.